DBS Bank. Live more, bank less.
Welcome back. As promised, we're going to focus on the entire electric vehicle space. Very strong earnings coming through from Sona Comstar in the second quarter, with a big boost in the battery electric vehicle segment. Sunjay Kapur, the chairman of Sona Comstar, joins in. He's also the president of the Automotive Component Manufacturers Association of India. Sanjay, hi, good morning. Happy Diwali to you and your entire team. Thanks for being with us on the channel. I want to start by asking you a little bit about the electric vehicle segment, because I remember at the time of the IPO, you were telling us that there are a lot of prospects here. And this time in your earnings, now the battery EV segment contributes 22% to your total revenues against about 14% last year. What kind of opportunities are you noticing both on the global as well as on the domestic front?
Well, from a global perspective, it's increasing rapidly. We've added 2 more customers, and almost 7 or 8 new platforms, leading up to almost 20 platforms now that we're catering to from a global market perspective in terms of passenger vehicles in Asia, as well as North America, as well as Europe and China. From the domestic market, the two-wheeler industry is rapidly increasing the number of electric vehicles, and we're playing a role there as well. We see this market increasing much sooner than we would have thought a few years ago. There's a great push for EV, and rightly so. Given the fact that the customers are demanding it, regulations are demanding it. We're moving towards a cleaner, more sustainable environment. And we see, a great push in this area, not just globally, but in India as well.
Mr. Kapur, EVs and what one can do for the entire ecosystem is all the rage. Good morning, Prashant here. I just had to sort of clarify the one point. Are you a supplier to Tesla, Mr. Kapur? I remember you saying that we don't disclose individual sort of client names, etc. I don't know if you will stick with that or...
Yeah, that remains. We don't disclose customer names.
Okay. Then can you sort of talk broadly? You said you've added 2 more clients, right? These are OEMs?
We've added, yes, OEMs in both the passenger car PV industry as well as two-wheelers.
And these are Indian companies, or these are US-based?
Indian as well as global.
Okay. And what kind of contracts are these? Can you give us some indication?
So it's out there. Over the next 7 to 10 years, we've got a pipeline, of almost $2 billion in terms of revenue, and that will take us to 58% of our revenue going to EV.
So just one follow-up, since you've added 2 new clients, from your existing clients, has the wallet share gone up? Are you getting larger amount of orders from existing clients, and has the margin profile also increased?
Well, we're growing with the customers. As they grow, our business grows. So that remains. The new customers are still, in the process of ramping up. So let's see how that business goes up.
Okay, Sanjay, good morning. Surabhi here. So now let me talk about the legacy business. The bread and butter, right? That side of it. Can you give us an update? Because there is margin pressure and there's this whole chip shortage issue. We keep hearing it from every OEM we speak with. So on the base business, what's the outlook?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There are headwinds in our business. There is a chip shortage. There is a container shortage. There are problems with raw material price increases. We're managing them as we have in the past. Most of our steel is passed through, and therefore, you'll see it reflected in our numbers. With regard to chip shortage, we've accounted for it as a business. As an industry, we're definitely facing headwinds when it comes to chip shortages, and this will take, at least a couple of quarters before it evens out. However, we've been able to build scenarios within our own business to make sure that we're accounting for the chip shortage business. The passenger car vehicle market has seen increased demand in India. We're happy to see increased demand in commercial vehicles as well. Two-wheelers is definitely down in terms of demand and in terms of sales. However, the problem with the industry today is supply side. and not the demand, not on the demand side, which is a good thing.
Okay, specifically on margin, Sanjay, at the operating profit margin level, I see the numbers I have, they show quite a bit of erosion. From 32.5, you're down to about 26.5 at the end of Q2. This is a year-on-year comparison. So what's the trajectory?
Yeah,
Is that because you haven't passed on most of the raw material increase?
No, so that there's a denominator and a numerator effect there with regard to steel price. So where the steel price goes up, brings the revenue up, and then it reflects in the EBITDA as well. There is some amount of, it's a mathematical, sort of projection there, or mathematical calculation there. There's some lower foreign exchange as well, and that's why we're seeing that. However, the margins are still strong and still healthy, and we see these to continue.
Within the Indian market, we are now seeing, a big push to the EV charging infrastructure ecosystem. So I think a couple of days ago, the IOC chairman said that they are looking to set up 2,000 EV charging stations in the next 12 months and another 8,000 in the next 2 years. What is your own sense of how much more work needs to be done? Is enough being done to sort of push the the whole EV process, or do you think a lot more needs to be done? And how would you benefit from it, particularly in the Indian market?
I think it's all steps in the right direction, and we need to take them step by step. I think building infrastructure is key to introducing electric vehicles in India. And we're taking the right steps. The government is taking the right steps. There's a right push, and I've said this, continuously, that the regulations and the consumers are now demanding electric vehicles, and this, this will only increase. Of course, there's a long way to go. We have a long way to go to, cover the kind of infrastructure we need and build the ecosystem that we need, to really flood the market with electric vehicles. But we're headed in the right direction, and I think this will definitely benefit in terms of OEMs as well as in terms of consumers, and then everyone who's playing in the EV space from the component industry.
You said most of the steel is passed through for you, steel prices, price increase. What about sort of input for the EV components, batteries, etc.? How do these work?
So we're not in that space, so I won't be able to comment on that space. I don't know how the battery input works. Predominantly, it's an OE bought part, so I wouldn't be able to comment on that.
Would you be putting any fresh capex to work, Sanjay, given that you're seeing so many new orders both in the global and the domestic market? And if yes, what is the amount that you're looking to invest?
So the capital expenditure, we are not putting anything beyond what we've already allocated, and this is purely because the fact that these orders have come into play, but now. Whereas, we had gained these orders already in the past. So we'd already accounted for this business. They've just come into production at this point in time.
Got that. All right. All the best, Sanjay. Thanks a lot for stopping by and speaking to CNBC TV 18. That is Sona Comstar.